Our story begins in the year 2204, where a submersible scans the bottom of the sea of, something Dothraki. As the sub cruises through the murky depths, it comes upon the long-dead remains of King Ghidorah? I like this introduction to the legendary character. Starting the film off on the corpse of the lead villain already adds an air of mystery to the story. It's no mystery Godzilla will defeat him, but the choice to show us the aftermath before the battle is a very unique and risky choice by the creators. I can't wait to see how this all went down. Oh, Jesus! Well, that edit was a slap in the face. Guys, there's ways to do this that doesn't befuddle your audience. And this choice was quite befuddling. Off the top of my head, I think of Saving Private Ryan, where they show the passage of time by having Matt Damon morph into his older self with a transition. Do something similar here. Zoom in on Ghidorah's dead eyes, then fade into his living head as he stands to face Godzilla. I don't know. Just saying they had other options than... Got me again. Now we cut to Tokyo in 1992, as a UFO cruises over the city, making headlines across the nation. We then meet one of our main characters, Terasawa. He's a writer who's sick of writing about the supernatural. He wants to be taken seriously and write some nonfiction. So he decides to follow up on a story about a man who says he once saw a dinosaur. Okay. Terasawa goes to meet the man at his shop. Apparently, during World War II, the man's unit on Ragos Island was saved by a dinosaur who wiped out a garrison of American soldiers. You'd think that'd be a part of history, Imagine the families getting that letter back home. My dear Mrs. Ryan, I pray that our Heavenly Father may assuage the anguish of your bereavement, and leave you only the cherished memory of the loved and lost, and the solemn pride that must be yours to have a son who was strawberry jamified by a T-Rex. Abraham Lincoln. Yo, imagine that's how Matt Damon's brothers died in Saving Private Ryan. Crazy prequel to Jurassic Park.
Alan.
So anyway, this guy acknowledges that the dinosaur was only defending its own turf when it attacked the Americans. However, he says that he and his men never reported the incident out of respect for their comrades who died in battle on the neighboring islands. Somehow he believes that revealing he was saved by a dinosaur sullies the honor of the fallen. Well, until today, apparently. When the movie started. Personally, I think that's a pretty weak reason to not report a dinosaur. Just say you got lucky and your island happened to have a prehistoric defender. Dude, it's a dinosaur. It's a monumental discovery. Its existence will change the course of history. You thought you were going to keep that under your hat for the rest of your life? Also, by not mentioning the dinosaur in your report, you're claiming unearned glory for having repelled an enemy force. You basically have to say your unit single-handedly drove the Americans off your shores. You'd be heroes. If you lied. The whole World War II aspect of this film is heavily layered in its stupidity, so let's just wait to cross that bridge when we come to it. Trust me, it's quite befuddling.
Take that, you dinosaur.
Anyway, Terasawa follows up on the story by meeting with a businessman, Shindo, who was the commander of the Japanese unit on Ragos. Conversation pretty much goes like this. Hey, we heard you saw a dinosaur. There's no such thing as dinosaurs. I think that dinosaur may have been Godzilla. Alright, here's my pictures of the dinosaur. That's right. Dude immediately breaks out photos he's kept all these years of the Godzilla-looking dinosaur that saved his life in 44. Bro, you never considered that theory before? Let's look at the pieces of the puzzle. You saw a dinosaur on an island. That island was then hit by a nuke. Then a nuclear dinosaur appeared near that island. Shindo? Comment? Buddy, it's been 50 years and you never put two and two together? Or maybe you did know, and chose not to speak up. We'll talk about that later, he said cryptically. Okay. Anyway, we have to talk about this UFO. Can we talk about the UFO? I've been dying to talk to you about the UFO. The UFO first appeared over Japan, blasting its lights and flying low. Definitely not trying to keep a low profile. They even say they've never been able to track a UFO so well before. It wants to be seen, and satellite images even show that it hovered directly over Godzilla at one point. Godzilla, by the way, is still recovering from the effects of the anti-nuclear energy bacteria used on him during Godzilla vs. Biollante. Love the continuity, but let's not forget this little detail for later. Now, the UFO disappeared from radar near Mount Fuji. However, a helicopter reconnaissance soon discovers the craft hidden in the woods. As the helicopters move closer to reconnoiter, they are instantly destroyed. Yo-oh! They're hostile. The self-defense forces are mobilized and surround the craft. The UFO then broadcasts a message saying they wish to speak to the people of Japan and that weapons are useless against them. Weird way to phrase that.
Why the fuck would he say that?
I mean, the "we want to talk" part sounds good, but the whole "your weapons are useless" thing? Coming from a UFO, it sort of comes across as resistance is futile.
Don't run. We are your friends.
A green beam emits from the UFO, and a Japanese girl and two white boys appear.
Do the Martians have two sexes, like we do?
As it turns out, they aren't Martians. They are, in fact, time travelers from the distant future. The 23rd century. Oh, that's right, folks. We're doing time travel in this movie. And let me tell you, this movie does not do it well. Now, just a bit of backstory. The director of Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah also directed its predecessor, Godzilla vs. Biollante, which underperformed at the box office. The director, Kazuki Omori, believed that this underperformance was due to the success of another competing film, Back to the Future Part 2. Therefore, he believed that this film should have time travel as well, which makes perfect sense. You see, I saw a guy in a red shirt driving a Ferrari last week, so of course, I bought myself a red shirt so that by next week, I'll be cruising in my own Ferrari. The logic is sound. So, why are the future people here? Well, first we have to prove they're from the future. That's why they lead with holographic images of themselves. You see how you can walk through a freeze-framed image of them? I'm sold. So the government guys are like, so what, you want us to take you to our leader or whatever? And they're like, nah, check this out. Teleportation. My opinion, should have gone with the slow ramp. Really gets their dicks hard. Alright. The future people have come in their time machine to save Japan. See, in their time, Japan no longer exists because Godzilla trashed all of its nuclear plants and caused a fallout that rendered the country uninhabitable. So what's their solution? Erase Godzilla from history. Well, golly gee, fellas, that is a lot to take in, but I gotta raise my hand on this one. So, dudes from the future, you came to save Japan, right? You're here to help? How were you helping when you destroyed those helicopters earlier? Anyone? Like, that was a completely unnecessary action to take. Did you push the wrong button or something? Were you startled? Just wondering what to write in those letters to the families. My dear Mrs. Maki, it is with a heavy heart that I write to inform you that your son, Goro, a talented pilot who inspired those around him, has tragically fallen in the line of duty. He was vaporized by space honkies. Abraham Lincoln. Seriously though, how do these people blow up two helicopters and the next day they're having a chinwag with the Prime Minister? It boggles the mind. I guess the government plumb forgot after all those holograms and teleportation. They really jingled the keys hard on that one.
Diggly, 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 diggly.
So the future people are here to erase Godzilla, and they want to do so at the source. As it turns out, they've learned about Godzilla's history on Ragos Island from a book written by none other than Terasawa, the one he was only just beginning to write. Ooh, time travel! By the way, I have another interesting question, and it may just be the strand that unravels the whole plot. So, the future people, aka Futurians, what does that make us? Presentarians? Fuck you. The Futurians have come from the year 2204. Their plan is to go back to Ragos Island in 1944 and move the Godzillasaurus to another location, so it doesn't get hit by the atomic bomb and become the Godzilla we know. My question about this ingenious plan: why'd they stop in 1992? Really, think about that. Like, why bother coming to present day? Just to let the book's author know he was right? That doesn't seem worth the trouble. Or the two helicopters. They also plan to bring Terasawa, an obligatory professor, and Heisei staple, psychic Miki Sagusa along on the journey back in time. Okay. Well, why? What does that accomplish? They could have easily gone straight from 2204 to 1944 and been done with it. So why go to 1992? Personally, I think it's just so we follow the same characters throughout the whole movie, but maybe the movie will give us an actual reason. So the group gets beamed aboard, where we're shown the future of chairs doesn't look so bright. I mean, look at that shit. Apparently, at some point in the future, we asked ourselves as a society, what the most comfortable thing to sit on is. We arrived at staples. I mean, it looks like the barrier in front of a gas pump. What does a bed look like? A set of parallel bars? We're then introduced to android M11, this movie's attempt to homage the Terminator. Here, the main group asks the Futurians why they specifically were chosen. Good question. The Futurians respond by saying that they couldn't bring someone back like Shindo who was already in the past, because two of the same individual can't exist simultaneously, or else one will disappear. Okay, so they dodge the question by citing a rule about time travel that will later be contradicted by the plot. Delicious. Also, I just have to talk about this UFO. On the one hand, it is equipped with highly advanced technology, such as the ability to teleport people, project holograms, and, oh yeah, travel through time. Yet, on the other hand, it has stools and escalators. And of course, those atrocious chairs. Looks like it was designed not to let homeless people sleep on it. Meanwhile, these guys sitting there in those comfortable-looking chairs, kicking their feet, dressed like they own a chocolate factory. A+ set design.
That I love. I absolutely love.
The group boards the smaller ship called Kids. The mothership is Mother. The smaller craft is Kids. Glad we're on the same page. On board the Kids, however, there are 3 genetically engineered animals called Dorats. When Mickey asks why they're bringing them, the Japanese Futurian, Emmy, just dodges the question. Gotta say, these Futurians treat dodging questions like an art form. But I'm sure the truth will reveal itself. In time!